Hey, hey. Here we are. We are live, guys.
Woo!
All right.
Bam, we're live.
How's it going?
Well, we do have two guests in the studio today. We have Rob. Why does it echo?
Yay! Echo, echo.
And there's Nick.
All
And we're
right,
going to
and
talk
who
about
else we got?
CrossFit today.
Well, who's the gentleman up in the corner up there? He's got looks like he's by a
That
fire truck.
that
Hear an
is
echo?
Joshua or Josh.
Joshua. Oh, are we gonna call him Joshua? Or are we gonna call him Josh?
Josh, just Josh.
Just Josh. Hey, Josh. I saw him wave. I had to say hey. So Chris, what's going on, man? We had some like difficulties or something trying to get this thing running, huh?
Yeah, there were a couple issues, but
Had a
I've got
TV
it.
go out, couldn't find speakers, and just plain just disastrous things that happen to us every time we try to go live.
Well, I'm working on getting everything worked out. I've got some parts on the way that should fix most of the issues.
Parts.
Is that what you
Okay,
asked me?
okay.
Because I wasn't really listening.
I know
That's
you don't
nothing
listen
new.
to me. That's exactly. See there? He says I got parts on issue, and I'm getting them. And he didn't say how much they cost or anything. He said I just bought some. I'm like, oh, there went some more money. But that's okay. I like to have money, and I like to not have money. But I like to have you guys inside the studio today. And if I'm not mistaken, what you're from a CrossFit studio in Valdosta, Georgia. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. This is Josh Knight. We're with SBMS CrossFit. Myself, I'm one of the owners, and Jason Ray and Ellie Rodriguez. Those are three of us. And then Nick, there on the right, is one of our coaches. And then Rob in the middle is one of our buddies here in the community. He currently works out at CrossFit Valdosta. And, we're all friends and love on each other. So, and Rob's also well known in the CrossFit community, and he's got a lot of valid views and feelings about what's going on with CrossFit currently. And I just wanted to give him this opportunity to speak with everybody. He knows a lot more about it than I do, that's for sure.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do, everybody, just so everybody knows, is we're going to take a few minutes and talk about some current events. And y'all are CrossFitters, so I would think that would cross into sporting events, and maybe you like sports, things like that. Hey, you like how I did that, don't you, Dana? I know you did. See, you didn't need them three other guys. You had me. Anyway.
Quit saying that, okay?
My feelings are hurt. No, they're not. So one of the things I'd like to do is kind of like you said, get your perspective on some of the things that are going on in CrossFit across the country. As like I told you before, when we had our little meeting before the show, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. So I asked this question before, so you could kind of have an answer to it. But as far as CrossFit, and that's my dog. She's doing CrossFit right now. Anyway, she's jumping up and down and barking at the dog next door. That's dog CrossFit. Anyway, so a lot of perspective on I don't want to say illegal narcotics, but the use of maybe steroids or things like that are prominent that I understand that Valdosta is trying to get away from, and trying to let everybody know that that's not what it's all about in Valdosta. It's not about those things. So we're going to kind of cover some of that. We're going to cover some of how the coaching aspect comes into this, because how do you see all of these gentlemen up here, and including, but Dana's not a gentleman, but a lady, and everybody's skinny, and then you got the fat guy that had to go to Vermont to get away from all that CrossFit stuff. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, and how to motivate somebody like me to do it, because, I've had a bunch of surgeries, and so I'm kind of limited on some of the stuff. And yeah, that's an excuse, but I'm using it and I'm sticking to it, dead gummit.
Rob, you can jump in with your...
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So
I was something I would like to address first is the stigma or the misnomer of that you've got to be some elite level of fitness in order to do CrossFit. You know, in my gym, we have all sorts of people at every stage of their fitness journey, whether they're, elderly, overweight, injured, coming back from an injury, but there's this intimidation factor that people think that they can't do it because of one of those things hampering them or hindering them, but it's just not the case. You know, we're trained as coaches, particularly Rob. I'll hand it off to him in a second, but the more advanced you are as a coach, the more knowledge you have, the ability to modify. Every exercise has a modifier, meaning we can make it as difficult or as easy for somebody as they want. So again, there's just, from the outside looking in, it can be, I guess, intimidating. But once you get in there and you give it a chance, you can see that it's made for everyone. But I'm going to hand it off from Rob and Nick to add to that.
All right.
Rob, before you take off with all of that, why don't you kind of get into to kind of show Roger how you got into CrossFit, like you were telling us earlier. So when Roger says, I've had surgeries and I've had all this happen to me, and using those excuses, you can come back with bam in your face.
No, and it's that's where I was. I got retired out of the military for an injury that I suffered. I gained a bunch of weight. I was really unhealthy. I was sedentary, and I was trying to went through a bunch of different things, video programs, martial arts programs, until one day I got brave enough to drop into a CrossFit gym. And, at that point, my hip was in a really bad place, and I explained to the coaches there what my limitations were, and they were able to scale around it. But from day one, I got to see that I get to be a kid again. I get to play, I get to run, I get to have fun and laugh and make mistakes and learn new things. And that's the best part about it, is you get to, you start with that youthful vitality on the inside, and you may not be able to lift as much as other people. You may not be able to squat as low as other people, but you are moving, you are making steady progress on your goals every day. And it doesn't matter if you're big, it doesn't matter if you're weak, it doesn't matter if you're old or have autism. You can find good coaches can find ways to motivate you and get you moving and help you build. And the more you do that, the more that your fitness and health are going to grow.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good motivational speech. And, I'm the old guy, the fat guy, and the guy that has limitations. So you hit all the categories that when I look to try to do something, those literally are the three things that I tell myself, well, I can't do it because I'm too old. Oh, wait, no, I'm not old enough. I mean, I'm old enough. Well, I'm too fat, or I'm going to be out of breath, so why do it? Or I've had too many surgeries and I just can't turn my neck, or my back won't move, or all that stuff. So yeah, you hit all three of them are bingo, because I go through those stages every time I get out of the bed in the morning. Do I get up because I'm those three things, it's kind of one of those, now I like the way you did that, because you tapped into my mind without even knowing me as a person. So that's cool. I like that. I don't want to be too close to you because I don't want you to get it further in my mind. But
I didn't bring my boots.
You didn't bring your what?
My boots. I don't want to wade too deep in the messiness.
No, you don't.
I got a big feedback going on there. So let me ask the coach there. What, for somebody like myself that would actually come into the program, and I tell you, well, I don't think I can do this, or I don't think I can do that. What do you say to somebody like me, or somebody that thinks that they can't do those things? Because the stuff that you guys do, I'm gonna tell you now, I was a fit athlete back in the day, but I just can't get motivated to do it. What do you say to somebody like that comes in there with that kind of attitude as a coach?
So for me, the first thing I would try to address is the thought process of I can't. The I can't mentality really doesn't exist in CrossFit. There is always a scalable version of a movement, and every movement is a scaled version of a harder movement. You can take something as complicated as handstand push-ups or something like that, and I can have a 60-year-old lady be her first time coming in, and she's going to start out with push-ups on her knees, and then maybe 2 or 3 months later, I can get her, maybe if she's in good enough shape and and consistently coming, I can get her on top of a box and she's doing dumbbells or something like that, and you just build up as you go, and eventually if she's doing well enough, you put her on the wall and get her to flip upside down and she does handstand push-ups. But I mean, you've got teenagers that come in that are naturally just gymnasts. I was blessed with that myself. I kind of just have a natural gymnast features or whatever, and took to the rings very well. Took to doing pull-ups, the bar. I'm pretty lightweight, so any kind of gym moves I'm pretty decent at. But even to that extent, you take something for like rope climbs. Rope climbs come very easy for me. So we start doing legless rope climbs where you don't lock in with your feet and just scale the top, so you're running with your hands. And that gets too easy, you put on a weight vest. I mean, there's infinite scalabilities up and down for both. And you just have to find a good coach that knows how to scale to you and what your injuries are and what your mobility is and how he's going to tackle your mobility and work you through that process of getting you stretched out. Most of the time people have bad wrist problems where they can't hold the bar in the proper front squat position, especially people that come in from bodybuilding and stuff like that. But yeah, you just kind of work through the progressions of flexibility. I'm going to get you on a stretching regimen. I'm going to get you, this is your movement whenever you see this on the whiteboard. And until I can see significant improvement, then we're going to bump you up. If this starts getting too easy, we're going to move you up. And maybe we have to pull the rep scheme down just a little bit for you on this particular thing until you feel good enough, and then you move on up.
So, okay, I mean, which basically sounds like not a harder version, but a version of what we used to do in school and college and things like that, which should just be a repetitious type, something that you're going to continuously do to get the movement in the body.
That's right.
So, what made? Let me ask all three of you this, so all three of you can answer it. What made you want to do it? Now, the gentleman with the CEO shirt on in the front there, he
Rob.
said that yeah, I don't remember names. You know that. What was your name, ma'am?
I'm trying to help.
Anyway, so the thing is, what made you want to do it to the level that you're at? So, Rob, you evidently you're really well known, and you do a lot of these CrossFit things. And my sister-in-law started doing it, I want to say about a year and a half ago down in Key Largo. And when she would get done, she just went like 6 months, and you could see a massive difference in just the way she was walking, because she held her head up higher, her chest out, not literally her boobs, but her chest. And so she it looked like she was proud of herself for doing some of the things she's doing. So
Confidence.
what made the gentleman in front of the Valdosta fire rig there? What made you want to open that gym in Valdosta? And we know where you work there. You've been there, and I mean I've been there a long time. But in Valdosta, was it something that you always desired to do, or it just came to you?
Well, I didn't open the gym. That was Jason Ray, my partner. He was affiliated with another gym and broke away from it. And I've been there a couple of years now. I started out as a coach, and then I bought in after working for him for about a year. But to me, I'd always wanted to have that as a side business, own a gym. I believe that it's just a way of giving back to the community and helping people achieve health goals, fitness goals. Like you mentioned with your sister, I love when somebody new to the gym starts coming, and over time, it just helps build a sense of confidence. It's just overall, it's a holistic overall sense of well-being. And one of the byproducts of that is confidence, if that makes sense. and I love just being a part of that journey with them. But I'm going to shoot it back to Rob and Nick, because I think you were asking him first what got him into it as well.
Right. All right, Nick, go ahead.
So, probably, I guess, originally why I wanted to get into CrossFit was I was started out bodybuilding for years and years and years, and felt pretty good about my strength. I was always a smaller guy, but felt pretty good about what I could lift in the gym. And so I started firefighting in Thomas County in 2013, and kind of realized that the gym weight that I'm saying I can lift these numbers and this, that, and the other weren't really translating to the fire scene. And I didn't ever really understand why. But after starting CrossFit, I just kind of got a taste of it, honestly, and noticed everything on the fire grounds moved faster. I was, just out working straight animals that were that were in our department, and it was just they could not keep up. I started becoming this fitness guru and stuff like that, and it was nice to have people look up to you, but it was also nice to be able to put out for the citizens of the town. And I've strived for that every day. You see that guy right there. He's sweaty. He's got a guy sitting next to him that's just as sweaty. They've been working out in gear. They are animals on the fire ground, and that is not as common as you would think it is in the fire service. And it's a sad fact that we have a lot of people just come and get a T-shirt and get a bumper sticker and just accept a paycheck, but they don't really take it as seriously as what it should be taken. And we've really been trying to get the analogy out there of like a tactical athlete, because that's essentially what we are. Military, police, everything. You're constantly on call, you're constantly ready to work, and you're constantly in a state of readiness to go. And CrossFit gives you that. It gives you the mentality that you can push through, that you're never too tired to push that extra 5% to get the job done. And whenever you are completely spent, you recover faster than these guys. You take 5 minutes, and you might not want to get up and go, but you're good. Like you are ready to work again. And CrossFit gives you these concepts of a EMOM or an AMRAP, and it just teaches you how to pace yourself for what the work window is. And it is the best concept for someone in that kind of space, like a fireman, like a police officer, EMS, military of any kind. And that's really what drew me to it. On top of it, just breaks the monotony of I'm going to do 12 reps and 6 sets of bench press, and then I'm going to go do pull-ups, and then I'm going to go do some deadlifts, and I'm going to take breaks between each set. I'm going to catch my breath because I want to get the maximum lift of everything. And now I have these huge muscles that take up all this oxygen, so I can't really run very fast or very long. And it just does everything. You hit deadlifts straight into a run. Keep hitting that mic. You do pull-ups, and then you go back and you clean your max lift. And I try to tell all of our new guys that I don't really care what your strength is, because it doesn't matter. Your best lift is the lift that you can hit when you're tired. And that's really all that matters. You're not ever going to be able to just pull up on scene and hit a huge grandma's fell on the floor and you just have to clean her up by yourself. Like, it's not going to happen.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. The gentleman there at the fire truck, he's got a gentleman beside him. We're going to ask him a couple questions. What did you want to ask him? You said you were going to ask him some stuff.
Who? Me?
You.
Ask him questions?
Yeah, you said you want to. First of all, I can buy a tie-dye shirt that looks wet like that.
You probably could. Hang on, I'm going to take
1 second.
take out my earbuds. Hang on.
1 second. We're going to have to come right back in just a second. You hear me?
Okay, go. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Give me just a minute and we'll come right back, all right?
All right, we're going to commercial. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay, that's cool. All
And
right,
then,
we'll come
yeah.
back and we'll talk more about this and some current events.
Yeah.
Need a website for your business? Let Shadowfox Design help. We will design and build your website so you have more time for your business. We will help with all your online needs so you have more time for your customers. Learn more and get started now by going to www.shadowfox.design. Research less and relax more with eTravel Anytime. Let us help you decide which sandals destination is best for your romantic getaway, or help you choose the family resort that is best for your vacation. We can also help you decide which cruise is best for you and your family. Tell us your preferences and we can narrow down your choices. Contact us today so we can help you plan your next vacation. Call 229-300-3691.
All right.
She's gonna kill me.
Hey, guys, we're back. Give me just a second.
So anyway,
Don't hit the table.
about that, like,
Yeah, just
damn.
stay away.
Just gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. There we are. There we go. Yeah. That's not. We don't. Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, no, we don't want that. No.
Okay, so it's mine. I was trying to bring you back around. I was trying to bring you back around to asking Josh what you were going to ask him.
I know.
Don't recall where we were at with that, but this is Sergeant Garcia. You know, he and I trained together every shift on, and it just goes to the point that Nick was making a few minutes ago about preparedness on the fire grounds. You know, both Nick and Sergeant Garcia are smoke divers and have graduated from Flames, which are I'll let Sergeant Garcia tell you a little more about that, but and just ask him, you know, does it feel like the cross training that we do out here on shift has better prepared you for those types of scenarios?
Yeah, most definitely. I was kind of big into the lifting the weights and just strict movements, and I've had to transition over to these types of exercises that we do. Knight's the one who usually comes up with most of this, but it's great, for our job in particular, because we're not here sitting, we don't have the time to get a barbell, put some weights on. Okay, time to move this over there. It's a lot of,
Just constant movement.
Yeah, constant movement. Just, you use your whole body, in essence. It's by no means it's not any easier than lifting weights. It's kind of the same thing, if not more rigorous.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm serious though, and I don't mean I squirrel a lot, but I do have to ask you this: are you related to the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
No, that isn't it.
Oh, I didn't know. Y'all got the same mustache, and you got the same hair up top and everything. Well, yours is a little shorter than his. I just had to ask that. I'm sure somebody's going to want to know, so I had to ask it. All right, okay, Dana. Dana's bit her tongue long enough. Go ahead, Dana.
I have nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mustache?
The mustache?
Yes, for sure.
Because my brother does that, and he hasn't explained it to me, but
No, he's got a great one though.
oh, he does, yeah,
Yes.
no doubt.
Tell him to keep rocking it. I love it.
Yeah, he's won awards with it. So
Yes.
yeah.
What? There's mustache awards?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
and my old
Couple
lieutenant
stashes.
and Ricky honestly have three of the best that I've seen. I've been out with a friend of mine named Charles Tatch, and I think I counted. He's a very wallflower guy. Like he doesn't. He's not gonna be the first one to introduce himself. And he had 5 or 6 guys come up to him that night and just talk about his mustache.
Wow. Sorry, I had to.
That's all right. That's cool because look, I can see it on the screen from Vermont, so ain't no telling what somebody in California
I
is going to
mean,
have.
those
You
take a
know.
lot of work too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that yeah.
Oh,
How
my
long does it take
collision
you to
with
get that
not
mustache
living
twisted
around
up
school
like that?
systems. So
I've been working probably since January this year. So
It's funny that you bring that up because he was literally an hour ago talking about shaving it tomorrow or the next day.
Dude, no, you can't do that, man. Come on now.
yeah, I enjoy it, but of course, the wife, she's not happy about it.
Why? What does she not like about it?
No, I
It's a
don't see
mustache.
It tickles.
I ain't touching that. Ain't touching that.
What rating is the show? I meant to ask.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about tickling mustaches. I don't know. Dana and the Georgia Beer Company had some good beers on this show one day. Ain't that right, Dana?
I wish I had one right now. Maybe 2.
Oh no! Everybody can't do anything without Dana. So now, Dana, you were saying something a while ago, and you were trying to get us back on track to something, and I don't even know what the track was. I mean, I'm still on 8-track. So where are we going?
I'm lost as well.
Yeah.
I think we're going back to Rob and asking about transformations. Is that what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah. You're asking about what kept us in or what brought us into CrossFit. And I think for me, once I saw the transformation and how it helped me with my health, I wanted to get into the education side of it. And so I went and got my coaching certification probably only about 6 months after I started, which was probably too early, but and which is crazy because all the information is free. The level 1 guide is out there for free. The workouts, they list them every day for free. There's free video tutorials. So, that's one part of it, learning the aspects of coaching, but then applying them in a gym setting. And I think that gets to the heart of, you say, why do people come back? The number one adaptation for CrossFit happens between the ears. You get used to doing all these hard things. And suffering by yourself in your garage is one thing, but when you start doing it in a class setting, in a community setting, that's really where it starts to take off because it's like, hey, we're doing the same thing, or I'm scaling and he's doing the harder version and she's lapping me, but we're all at the same time having to work for the same period of time. And we're all dealing with a coach that seems like the devil, and we're all in this community of people that are working really hard, and we're seeing these changes. I think that's what makes this fitness modality special. But really, it's the simplicity of it at the start. When I went to the school, you got 9 foundational movements. They all relate to things that you do every day: squatting, sitting down, standing back up, picking up things, putting them on shelves, deadlifting things, bags of dog food. But then it's not just that simple, because then you get into the more difficult things after you master those basics. So you do handstand walking, you do run for a mile, you do row for 5,000 meters, and those tasks, they just keep building blocks, making you feel better about yourself. And then that translates over into your workday and into your romantic life and into all these other aspects. And instead of it just being fitness, it's overall health. And we're tying all those things together in one big picture. And that's what makes it special. You start to see that the more you get inculcated, or more you indoctrinate yourself into the lifestyle.
Okay, so yeah, you said it, so I got to bring it up. So does CrossFit actually enhance your sex life?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because we're used to wanting to finish really quickly in the workouts, and that's kind of the opposite when you're in the bedroom. So I would say that your endurance in some ways and being able to lift heavy loads. I don't know that your significant other wants to be considered a large
heavy
load.
load?
Yeah, or having to move it quickly. Those things don't sound as sexy, but I'm sure there it can be. You can look at it that way. That it'll help there.
Yeah. So okay, because you
Certainly
look at
can't
the
hurt.
you look at what's that?
Certainly can't hurt.
Well, that's true because you look at these George Foreman ads, and not George Foreman, George, whatever his name is, and he's got all these testosterone things going on, and after 50 and all that. So I was just kind of curious if it actually did, and I know Dana looks like she's cringing over there, but it's kind of one of those. I mean, I don't know if it's not called stimulating your body, but I guess you are stimulating your body to be able to stimulate other forms of your body. Is that right?
You bring up a really good point because and she talked about earlier while we were on break that the numbers on the scale may increase if you're gaining mass, but the real victories are in the blood tests, what your cholesterol levels are, what your testosterone levels are, what your brain activity, the amount of sleep that you get. If you truly commit to making these big changes and dealing with the demons inside your head, and then getting up off the couch, moving, cutting out things like excess complex carbohydrates, there are a lot of things that you can get help with that will increase those. And I think overall, as you start to get fitter, your health gets better, and those things start to improve as well. So whether it's an ED issue or something else, there's no RX prescription for it, but I think there's enough evidence out there that if you do this, if you follow this prescription, that those things will improve over time.
So on your workouts and all that other stuff, do you go by a strict, and I'll ask all of you this because I go on a strict diet. What I see, I eat. So the question is, well, you can see that. Look at me. I don't do CrossFit. So the question for you guys is, is there certain foods that you just don't eat, or you don't pleasure eat, you eat to nourish your body?
Well, Greg Glassman said in his it's meat, vegetables, seeds, some fruits, some nuts, little starches, and no sugar is the kind of standard. But there's a lot of legal stuff, and I'm sure that if you've done your research, there's like in Florida, CrossFit coaches can't give out nutritional advice because of the
Right.
laws there. So the nutrition is probably best left to a nutritionist, but there are certain like if it fits your macros or.
Well, no, I'm asking you guys.
Yeah.
As far as you individually, do you guys cut out, or have you? Go ahead.
I eat what I want, but I had a generally healthy diet to begin with. For me, it's always been portion control. I myself, anything in particular. If I was told that I needed to cut something out, I would. If I had a cholesterol issue or diabetes, but again, it's just all in moderation for me. And if I didn't work out as aggressively as I do, I might more closely watch my diet.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the worst to ask about this. So I've gone through a couple periods where I've tried to not necessarily diet, but just clean my diet up because I love fried food and it's amazing every time. But at the same time, obviously that's not healthy for you. And fortunately, I've seen significant differences in my workouts, my times, my energy, how I felt after the workouts in those times that I did eat cleaner. I think honestly for me and like Josh and Ricky, we can kind of run into the fact of eating a little bit too clean, and we won't have the calories to necessarily perform and expand on in the on scene. Or to just we have to almost carbo load constantly. I think I'm using that term right, but
yeah, you are. My son. Well, and that's one of the things I was going to ask is because he used to carbo load when he swam. He was a college swimmer, and I mean his waist was like 2 inches, and his back was like huge. But anyway, so do you throw yourself into ketosis? Is that what you're saying, or you try not to specifically put a name on it?
No, and I'm not too keen on the keto diet. I don't know a whole bunch about it. I know with, like Josh was saying, this class that me and Ricky have completed. They had us. I think Ricky's carbs were, or calorie intake was like 46,000 a day. Not 46,000. That's too much. 46.
I was just say 46,000.
Yeah,
Oh my God!
4600.
I want that diet.
I think I was right at 4,200. And I mean, you just get, if you're in that gear, you get just zonked. I mean, it's just it just eats you so much. Like you look when you take it off, you look like you just jumped into a swimming pool with clothes on. Like
Yeah.
completely.
About 5 years ago, when I first started CrossFit, I was on the keto diet, and I did keto for about a year. Tracked my macros, tried to stay in ketosis, and I found that I felt like crap most of the time because I needed more than what I was giving, allowed through that diet to do CrossFit and do everything else that I was doing. This is before I was in the fire service. So I found that keto just didn't work for me.
Okay, so it's not a form. Okay, what about individually? And maybe you want to discuss it, maybe you don't, because I know we don't have a lot of time. But what about using? Do you just drink like protein drinks, or do you have some kind of muscle enhancers like steroids, whether it be shot or injection or pill or is there? I mean, or is it just strictly you just eat the food, lose the weight? That sounds like a commercial.
It's very simple, but it's not easy. If that makes any sense. So the concept is very simple. You cut your calorie intake, and you will naturally lose weight because you're working higher than your calorie intake, and you cut weight. Doing it is not easy. It's very hard. You have to stay disciplined. I mean, you see, I definitely kind of wish I was on some roids because maybe my arms would get a little bigger. But no, I know none of us use that kind of stuff.
I do.
We're more conscious of the health concerns that come with it. Like, I don't want an enlarged heart. I don't want back knee. I don't want, like, there's a lot of side effects that you take into account with that. And to us, the risk is not worth the benefit of having it.
I think one thing that's really important to note, especially if you're considering CrossFit and you're looking to change your nutrition, that it's not a one size fits all thing. There's a lot of diet things out there that make it seem like it's one size fits all. Like you do, if it fits your macros, and that's gonna fix you. You do zone, and that's gonna fix you. Ketosis, but sometimes, and a lot of the times, the issues are gonna be in your head, and that's where, like, as a CrossFit coach, I'm gonna stay out of that altogether. I'm gonna stick with my 9 functional movements, and I'm gonna let dietitians and nutritionists handle that. And then if I get in a good enough relationship with the client, suggest, hey, therapy is always an issue. Go and address those things that are deep seated, that are maybe causing some of the overeating issues or food dependency issues. But again, I'm not smart on that. I'm a humble CrossFit coach. I know how to look at a squat, diagnose what's wrong, and get you out of it. I can tell you how my diet works and what's worked for me. But again, that's anecdotal, and my body type and my diet and my performance is different than yours. But in the end, our fitness is it's really, we're all trying to do the same thing. It's the how much of it we're doing that changes. It varies by degree and not by kind.
I see. Cool. So Dana, you've been awful. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
CrossFit has largely, since the beginning, at least since I've been a part of it, has always preached healthy lifestyle choices. Even the sponsors early on they kind of shied away from pre-workouts, things like that. So they've never supported or encouraged any sort of performance enhancing drug use. They don't like products with a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugars in them and stuff like that. I know that has since changed, and I kind of want to steer it towards Rob to talk about the current state of CrossFit and how we kind of how it's viewed as more. There's been a culture shift in my mind away from where it used to be, and I don't know what that's motivated by, if it's corporate greed or whatever. But anyways, I'll hand it back off to you guys. You had mentioned earlier in the podcast, and I think that's where we're headed. Steroid use like that. It's always been frowned upon. They've always really been encouraging healthy lifestyle choices, like I said, and I'm gonna hand it back to Rob because I'm digging myself into a hole.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, Rob. He threw it back to you. Get it. Let's see what you got to say.
As far as like supplements, are we still talking about that?
We're kind of doing a supplement, but we're also the elephant in the room that everybody talks about, CrossFit, and then they automatically, like he said, they're kind of changing their thought process, because the old view was CrossFit and had either steroids or enhancements, not just steroids, but some type of enhancement or something like that. Whereas if nowadays, I'm trying to get what you guys are doing. Number one, they're in Valdosta at your CrossFit place, which is where, by the way?
We're over off Bemis Road, right across from Cup Works, Big Daddy Guns.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, Rob, go ahead.
So I guess a couple different ways we can look at where we're at now. I know before Greg Glassman, who was the owner, before he sold CrossFit to Berkshire Partners and some other people like Eric Rosa, it was his baby. Him and his wife owned the majority stake in CrossFit, and very much he ran it like a motorcycle club. He ran it with his vision, and he made the decisions, and he had a couple people that he really trusted, and they made that work. And after it got sold, now it's more of a publicly traded company, so profits have to be made. Where before it was a vision, it was he was trying to evangelize people with the knowledge of fitness and how they were the lifeboat in the sea that was this toxic, overweight country or world that we're in right now, and he had the answer to it, which is a very simple fitness philosophy. Now we're weighed down by scandals. The company doesn't have a CEO right now, which is part of the reason that I'm wearing this shirt. They don't have a CEO in place. They have a games director that is, I can't accuse him literally of hurting somebody, but the decisions that they're making or the communications that aren't being made are getting athletes hurt. You've got the only media in the sport that's covering CrossFit is kind of in bed with CrossFit, so they're really only just mouthpieces for HQ, who are mouthpieces for suits that are former CEOs of places like SoulCycle and Waze, which the president right now of CrossFit wouldn't even be able to tell you what general physical preparedness is or what it means or what CrossFit is at its heart. So really the ship is being steered right now by a bunch of people who have no idea what CrossFit is. And it seems to me, you've got the people that are trying to keep the ship afloat, like Nicole Carroll, like Chuck Carswell, like Dave Castro on the outside. All these people that were there at the beginning who really believe in the mission, trying to steer it and trying to keep it together. And you've got a bunch of people who were offended by Greg Glassman's comments around COVID and George Floyd, and they're happy that he's gone, and they're pretending like the ship's not on fire. And so it's a really weird place to be in, and this is supposed to be the time of year where everybody's supposed to be hyped up about the road to the games, and we're in the middle of semifinals right now, and really all anybody's talking about is the lack of leadership, the lack of focus, the disjointed way that the messaging is coming across on all levels.
Okay.
So it's a frustrating time to be in CrossFit, and steroids, while it is a story and it's out there for sure. I mean, we have Ricky Gerard, who is just coming back off his 4-year ban from testing positive, who placed second at the games 4 years ago. He's coming back, but we all know really, I think in our hearts that we've learned how to cycle off these steroids and these PEDs, and it's going to be years before those B samples will be tested, and we'll know for sure if these athletes were testing positive or not. But I think that the spectacle now is more than the specter of steroids. And I want to kind of get across that what Josh is doing and Nick is doing, that part of CrossFit is different than the sports side of CrossFit.
Yes.
The education and the people that are in the gyms every day, that's different. You've got these elite level guys and girls, they're the top 1% in the world, or 0.5%. Everybody else in those gyms every day, what happens to those athletes doesn't matter to these guys. It's just the honks like me that have been around since 2012 that care about all these background machinations. It doesn't affect the work that they do and the good that they're doing, but it is interesting. It's like
well, it does. Opera. Well, it kind of does affect them, because people like me hear these things that you're saying and other people are saying, and I say, well, I'm a fat guy, I'm an old guy, I'm a guy, as we started the show, that can't turn my head, but do I want to get into the drama that you're talking about? Because it's just like, Housewives of Atlanta,
Yep.
So the question is, what you just said kind of eased me a little bit about Valdosta and their group in Valdosta. They're not playing politics, because it sounds like the group in Valdosta is worried more about the person that's coming to them, rather than the CEO or CFO or the political aspect of it. So to me, that's what's more attractive to the Valdosta area than all these other things that are going on. What do you think?
It's always going to be about the people that come to the door and the relationships you're establishing with your clients. There's a psychology to coaching. There's such interpersonal relationships that's what I love about it. Like, that's what keeps me there, is seeing the change in these people. Like we mentioned earlier, it's a holistic overall change in that person's mentality, physicality, etc., their spirit. And if it comes down to it, where we feel like things are so toxic with CrossFit corporate, it's just an affiliate franchise fee that we pay annually. You know what I mean? Like, the spirit of CrossFit's always going to be with us and in that gym. And for me, it helped me through a dark time, building some really close relationships that I still have. I lived in Florida for 15 years before I moved back up to Georgia. I still am in contact with the people that I, entered into CrossFit with. And people like Rob and Nick, these are genuine relationships. And it isn't just, we don't just sit around and talk about CrossFit all day. We actually, have a deeper connection.
Meaningful conversation.
But it's just, for me, like it's always going to be about the person that comes to the door, and trying to. My hope is to convince them to come inside, and if we feel, like I said, we feel like that drama or the blood that's spilling out of the corporate nonsense is affecting our ability to attract people, then we'll have that conversation later on.
So if somebody Valdosta or the surrounding areas, Madison or Tifton, or even as far as Macon, or somebody wants to come down and train there at the facility in Valdosta, who do they call and how do they get a hold of you guys?
Sure. Well, we're on Facebook, SBMS CrossFit. Call Jason Ray. Nick, can you look up his number real quick? Because I'm on the Zoom phone. I'm not able to look up his number. But to that point, you make an interesting point. My partner, Jason Ray, is a competitor. He is an elite level athlete when it comes to CrossFit. He was on his way to the semifinals before a scoring issue arose that affected hundreds of people that were going to the Open. We can talk about that at a later date. But he's geared up to compete in the Vanguard, the Bacon Beatdown, and hopefully he'll be
Classic Coastal or something.
Yeah, I think it's something else now. Classic Coast.
Let's stay away from saying geared up, though.
That's fair.
Sorry.
He's training the
This
hardest I think I've ever seen him train right now. I mean, I've worked out with him, and I'm consistently broken. I mean, he is trying to kill me in the gym, I swear.
Yeah,
we're talking a 2.5 hour long session every day.
And but there are other athletes or CrossFit competitors in the community in and around town that will come and train and prepare with him. That he's at that point where other elite level athletes are coming to train with him. So yeah, I would encourage anybody interested in just starting out and a newer coach such as myself, they want an easy pace, come join me in the 5 a.m. class, reach out. But or Nick, you can give them Jason's number real quick. That'd be
awesome. So Jason's number is 904-382-3991.
All right, cool. So what we can do is Chris, if you don't mind, if they don't mind, let's take a link that they have or take their Facebook and link it to ours.
Yeah.
And I'll link it to my personal one.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest with you. I have sat here for an hour and listened to you guys talk, and I'm motivated to when I see, here I am going to put it off again till when I come back. I'm motivated to when I get back there is maybe come in there and see if what you guys are saying is actually true.
Oh man, come on. I'd love to have you.
He's in town June 17th.
Yes.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, let us. Well, I'll even show up.
Yeah.
There you go, Roger.
And then Chris will have to videotape this whole thing because I'm going to come in my not Gene Simmons and my what, Dana?
It's Richard Simmons. Get it right.
My Richard Simmons outfit for you guys.
Do it.
Went to the oldies and Roger.
I'm sick that day.
Wait, my cameraman's going to be sick. My producer's going to be sick. Oh, we're going to have to change it. Here we go in delays again.
No, I'm not going to let you do that either. I'm not going to be your excuse, Roger.
Yeah, you're my excuse. Come on now.
No, I'm not going to be your excuse.
Dana, you have really not said much all day, but I'm going to tell you what, you guys. She talks about that. I don't know if she's ever even been in it, but she talks about that place, and she talks about you guys, and she talks about the connection that you guys have with the. What are you doing?
Behind the scenes magic.
Dana was just pointing. You trying to get Cal to come around the table?
We have ghosts.
Well, tell Cal to come sit over there with you. What's going on?
Nothing's happening here. We're just.
What's happening with you?
Yeah.
Everything all right?
So anyway, back on the farm. So Dana, well, I mean, and you guys, she really.
They're actually here today because we've been talking about this for a while, and I am no longer disappointed, and just happy we have guests in the studio.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys came in, and I it's probably my fault last week, and I apologize about that. And that's where we're just going to leave it. We're just going to leave it there, and so I would really like to have people go to your gym and or your back.
Right? You're gonna go check
back.
it out and try
He's
it?
going when he comes back.
Yeah, I really am. I really am going to try it.
On the way home, I'm pretty sure. So.
Hot dang.
Where's it at again?
On Bemis.
What's the address?
Yeah, it's
what's the address?
It's across the street from Taco Bell.
Taco Bell Cup Works.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact address.
We're at that really annoying turnoff now that they've changed it
I
over.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pain. You pass by it, Roger. Trust me. I'll send you the address.
So okay, I'll get a taco and then go in there and work out. That'd be great.
Exactly.
Look, y'all
He's
combining two of my favorites, talking and food. We're in there.
Let's do it.
That's called carb loading, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Nah, it's called I'm hungry. No, I had a colonoscopy last week. I didn't eat for 2 days. Oh my God, when I did eat, I think I ate the whole kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 30 Bemis Road.
30 Bemis Road?
3937 Bemis Road.
3937 Bemis Road, and it is called
SPMS CrossFit.
SPMS CrossFit. You guys have been absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate what you're doing, not only for yourselves, but for the community. Those of you that fight fires, those of you that sit on your butt like me, and those that sell the ads and work in production. Anybody can do this. So I think I'm going to give it a try when I get back. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I don't have anything else really to say unless you guys have something else to say.
No, please
You
come
guys?
in. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, come in.
That's
So
a
we'll
lot
do
of
that.
fun.
What we can do is me and Danny are going to come in there with our sweatpants, and Cal's going to come in there with her. Hey, Cal, I see you. I see you right there.
Stand up
Right.
and say,
You might as well just go stand by Mama. Stand right beside her.
no, you
Now all I can see is his finger pointing. Hey,
Yeah, it looks
hey,
like-
Mama.
shirt, the America.
I can't see it.
Working parents.
Oh, that's cool. How come I don't have one of those? Because you have more money than I do. That's why. I'm poor. I can't afford one of them. So anyway, guys, I do appreciate you guys coming on the show. I'd love to have you come back again. And what we can do is when I get back, we'll kind of come in and see what you're all about. And if you don't mind, we'll kind of show people around and let them see what you got.
Yeah. Tell them to come on.
But welcome.
Well, I appreciate it. Hey, Chris, what else we got to talk about? Anything? Because we didn't talk about the Boston Celtics just slammed the Heat last night. Yes, sir. But coming on in just a few minutes.
That was one of the teams I called. I'm just saying.
Who, the Heat? Yeah, you did.
No,
Uh,
the Celtics.
No, I called the Celtics.
I said Larry Bird. I said Larry Bird.
Larry Bird played 30 years ago.
It's the only team I knew.
Oh, my God. We got to go back and read here. You hear what this is? That's my jelly bean saying you lying.
I said Larry Bird.
Anyway, so what's this coming on just here in just a few minutes is Golden State. They're going to wrap this up tonight. I think they may hold off and say we're going to take it back. So I don't know if they're actually going to close it out tonight or not. So look, I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm just plumb out of words now. Anybody else?
I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
thanks
Dennis,
again
like-
for coming in the studio, and thank you, Josh, for coming and for being part of the Zoom call.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and tell Khan there he can come with us too.
Huh?
Talking about Ricky.
Oh,
Yeah, I said tell
Yeah.
Khan there he can come too. Ricky. So tell he better not shave that before I get home. I got to get a close-up picture with that, so I can go when I go to our meeting over there with the club in Jacksonville. I can ask him if you're his brother. So
All right.
anyway, all right, guys, I appreciate it. We'll circle back to it next time. Thank you guys for coming in.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Take it easy.